Welcome to Christian World Spice.
Hey guys, welcome back to Christine's World Spice. So this video is a very detailed video, so I just want to let you know this by hand. If you want to skip through some of the scenes, then I will have the time frame down in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get it straight into the ingredients. So first, you want to make sure that you rinse your chicken tenders off in cold water. I rinse mine in cold water because it prevents the chicken from cooking. If you wash it off in warm water, of course, it's going to cook your chicken tenders. These are nothing but mussels, so it will cook quicker. Next, I have a bowl of warm water, and what we're going to do is we're going to dip our chicken into that warm water after we dip our chicken inside of the flour. You want to make sure you have 2 cups of flour for our dry batter. And I'm going to add some cornstarch. I'll be adding 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. And what this will do, it will actually create a more crunchy taste on your chicken tenders rather than just the flour. Because if you just add flour, then 9 out of 10 times your chicken tenders will be kind of soggy after you take it out of the oil. So the cornstarch will keep that crunchiness for you. Now for the seasoning, I'm adding 1/3 of onion powder. And you can add a little bit extra if you like it. I would add a little bit extra, but I'm not because it's for my children. They don't really like a lot of seasoning. Next, I'll be adding 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You don't want to add too much of this, especially if you're cooking for children and if you don't like spice, because cayenne pepper will creep up on you. It's not like black pepper. Black pepper would just come at you like a creep in the night. Like black pepper won't even say nothing to you. Now we're going to add some turmeric. Turmeric, all we need is 1/3 or 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. Sorry. And I have some complete seasoning. You can add any kind of seasoning. You can add seasoning, salt, Creole seasoning. I'm just going to add a little bit because I'm also going to season my chicken tenders as well. So you might as well add 1/2 tablespoon of that. And we're going to add some garlic powder. You can add as much garlic powder as you want. I really don't like to measure my garlic powder. And whatever we add to our batter, dry batter, we're going to add it to our tenders. We do not want to bite into our tenders, and the only thing you taste is seasoning on the bread and not on the chicken. We got to do better than that, okay? So we're going to add at least 1/2 teaspoon of each seasoning on the chicken tenders. We don't want to overdo it. Make sure you mix everything in completely. Now, if you don't want to use cayenne pepper, you can use black pepper. I'm going to mix everything in my flour mixture, my dry mix, and then I'm going to dip into my warm water. The reason I use warm water because it coats the flour much better. If you use cold water, it's going to cake up, and 9 out of 10 times your flour is not going to stick. You want to make sure that you shake your tenders off really well so that way you can start forming that nice crescent on the top of the chicken tenders. And just shake it off and let it sit on a rack. What the rack does is it dries the batter onto the chicken and it keeps the batter on the chicken when you put it in the fryer. So I'm going to go ahead and just batter my chicken tenders all up, and then we're going to add it to the fryer. So this is what it looks like, and it's okay if you see it kind of like dry a little bit because that means you're doing the right way. So if it's dry, it's perfect. That means that batter is going to stick on your tenders. So I have my oil. I have vegetable oil. I have about 3 cups of vegetable oils in my pan. I make sure I turn my oil on high. That way I can get that oil nice and hot. For about 5 minutes after your oil is on high, you want to turn it down to medium high because you don't want to burn your chicken tenders. If you test it, the first thing you want to do is grab a piece of chicken, and like I did, and I threw it inside the fryer just to see if it's hot enough. And if it starts bubbling and your chicken tender starts to form and bubbles at the top of your oil, then it is time to add your chicken tenders. Now for me, I'm doing my own barbecue sauce. So I have about 2 cups of just regular ketchup. I did have my aloe on kind of high, so you want to make sure you keep it on medium high or medium. Keep it on medium. Next, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of molasses. Now, I feel like molasses really does do the trick in barbecue sauce. If you don't have molasses, you ain't got barbecue sauce. Next, add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of black pepper. A half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You don't want a lot of that because you have the black pepper and it will be very spicy. I have some garlic powder, and I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of that. 1 teaspoon of paprika. And 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And then for this, you just want a sprinkle of some red crushed peppers. You don't need a lot because we already have the black pepper and the cayenne pepper, so you just want a little bit. I have some complete seasoning, or you can use any type of seasoning, salt, soul seasoning. All you need is a half a teaspoon. Now here comes the vinegar. That's what you definitely need inside of your homemade barbecue sauce. You gotta have that vinegar. So let's use a cap full of that. And I will say definitely apple cider vinegar will do the trick. And there's one more ingredient that you would probably think that you shouldn't even use in barbecue sauce. But if you use it, trust me, you will see the difference and you will be like, okay, that's what they put in the barbecue sauce. Okay. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Now we're going to go to our brown sugar because I like a little bit of sweet to my barbecue sauce. I love my sweet more like, I like it to be like honey tangy type of barbecue sauce. So we're going to add 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. And there's our masterpiece. Our main ingredients that you really probably wouldn't even know that is in barbecue sauce is a tablespoon of mustard. So you want to whip that up and whip it up for about a good 3 minutes. The best barbecue sauce in the world is warm or hot barbecue sauce. Now, if you wanted to, you can go a little extra mile and add a little bit of beer or some rum or even some gin or something or vodka. It will really, it's some beer. Beer and alcohol will actually bring the taste out so much better. But of course, I'm cooking for my children, so I'm not going to add all that. It's not going to get them drunk though, but still, I'm not going to add it. So now we're going to add our chicken tenders to our oil. And I have my oil on medium. And I'm just going to let them fry. Now, if you want to, you can keep moving around so they do not stick, because it does have that cornstarch, and cornstarch tends to stick your ingredients together. You want to just keep moving it around for at least about 2 minutes, because you want to make sure that they don't stick together, and as well as you want to make sure that it doesn't overcook. So the more you move it around, the evenly the chicken tenders will cook, and it'll start getting brown all over. You want to make sure that your chicken tenders are immersed inside the oil so it can be deep fried, because if it doesn't, you'll have to constantly keep flipping it, and then your batter is not going to be as crunchy as you want. It's going to be flat, and it's just not, the presentation won't look great. So like I said, I cooked my chicken tenders for about 3 minutes because it's on a kind of a little high. But if your oil is not that high, you want to make sure that you cook it to where your chicken tenders start floating at the top. Once your chicken tenders start floating at the top, then you know that it is done. And you can let it just cook for another additional 1 to 2 minutes if you like it really crispy. Because once you remove it from the oil, it does become soggy. So if you like to cook it a little bit longer, just cook it for another additional 1 to 2 minutes, which would be about around 7 to 10 minutes. And now that your chicken tenders are done, this is what they look like. I cooked the chicken tenders, and I also cooked some. I didn't cook the collard greens. Uh, but the collard greens came out amazing. JG cooked the collard greens. So the collard greens and some tangerine oranges on the side with a homemade barbecue sauce. And this is for my babies for their lunch. Because you know what? The best thing to do is cook them some soul food that speaks to their soul instead of cooking them, frozen foods and stuff. That's not right for their bodies. So if there's something that you want to cook for your children, this is the best way to go. It's a cheap option. You can get chicken tenders at your local store for like $8, and it's a whole pack. And I know half of y'all have flour at home, so you can do whatever you want with the ingredients. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe today. I thank y'all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I love you guys. You don't know